Hello guys, doing a really quick tier list video for those low elo players that want to become better at the game. This is specifically made for people ranging from Iron till Diamond. The problem with Lucian is that Lucian is a champion that wants to bully laning phase, but there are so many better options compared to Lucian, especially talking about lower elos. Because of that, I decided to put Lucian on B. It is really easy to fall behind with this champion, and once you do, it feels really hard to come back. Corki gets placed on the A tier. I think that Corki is really easy to execute, especially for someone starting out in the game. Balanced build such as Trinity Manamune, really easy to execute, and you can pivot into crit, deal a lot of damage, and be really tanky while doing that. There is probably one of the hardest champions to start with. You need to learn to farm perfectly, and you have a really tiny window on going full all-in, which is usually made when you have your ultimate. On top of that, the way that you usually naturally kite with all the ADCs is completely different from Zeri. You simply have to aim with your mouse, so you need a really good aim. Paired with an enchanter will be even better, so it's more of a duo character unless you're playing the higher stages of the game. Sivir gets placed on the C tier. My justification to Sivir being C tier is simply because you want to start learning how to kite when you're playing in low elo, and Sivir is really good for that, but at the same time the champion doesn't search for fights that much. She takes really good leads by simply WQing the wave and getting a minion advantage, but playing theory when you still don't know the game doesn't make much sense to me. Draven is a really good character, and no wonders it's gonna be on the A tier. The only thing that makes Draven a bit annoying, especially when you're starting out, is that it takes a lot of experience to actually playing well. So because of that, I didn't put him on the S tier. But if you have the time and the commitment to actually commit on this champion and you wanna play only him, this is one of the best characters to climb up with. Jhin is as well one of the worst characters to actually climb up with. The problem with this champion is that it tends to deal no damage against tanks. And when you're playing in low elo, we know what happens. There's a lot of Mundo players, there's a lot of Cho'Gath players, and usually those tanks don't really happen to be there in high elo, while in lower elos, because people don't know how to deal with them, they will just like walk at you and they will one-shot you. And so there's not really an answer when you're playing Jhin. You might lose some games, even if you are 10 times better than the enemy, just because their draft just makes so much more sense compared to yours. Vayne is a really good character to climb up. I will put it on the B tier only because, once again, it's the same as Draven, but the laning phase is slightly weaker, and it takes a lot of commitment to actually play her well. I also do think that she has really, really low range, and playing her out, especially when you don't really know the game, might lead to a 0-10 game, a 0-15 game. It is a 50-50 character. I would try to play it if you're really good mechanically, and if you're not, I will simply skip it for now. Tristana is a really easy character. She scales really well. She has Exoptics right now, which is a really, really strong item as well. I'm putting her on A tier just to be conservative. She's really, really good. I would even put her on the S tier. The only reason for why I didn't do that is that understanding when to jump in, when to jump out, and when to do things is not that easy, so you still need a bit of knowledge on how to play her, if that makes sense. Ezreal is one of the worst champions to actually start out as ADC. The amount of mechanics that you need to carry as Ezreal is way too much. That doesn't mean that you can't play the champion. I heavily believe that if you have good mechanics, just like as Vayne, you can for sure play this character. If you want to play Ezreal and you want to succeed with Ezreal, you can still do it. Just focus only on this champion, because else it becomes really, really hard to climb with it. Kai'Sa doesn't particularly do anything well right now. She's weaker compared to many other champions from an AD crit perspective, and her AP version is not even that good. When you're playing at an high level and you have the right engage at the right time and you're playing her perfectly, she can still have some value, but when it comes to low elo, I will say that you should skip her for now. Which is personally a really, really strong character in low elo. If you know what I know, you will punish low elos insanely well. And so when you have the knowledge, when you understand when the enemy is making a mistake, you are gonna go 20-0 switch in low elo no matter what. It's all about having to understand which type of trade you can take. Once you understand it, it's really, really easy to just like even reach platinum or diamond right away with this champion. He is not necessarily binded to an enchanter support. Some people might think that, but I also do believe that he has a really good AP build, which everyone can use in a really easy way. Varus doesn't shine particularly at anything. He doesn't have any crazy scaling, and his Comet build is really, really hard. Also, his Unit build is really, really hard. I wouldn't actually touch this champion unless you are Diamond Plus, so do not worry about this. I wouldn't even talk about it. Aphelios goes on the B tier because of his insane scaling. Honestly, if you want to focus on this champion and you manage to reach late game, you're always gonna win the games no matter what. The main issue of the champion is that he is completely different compared to other champions. There's a lot of things such as guns, rotations, and such. If you take your time to actually improve on him and you focus only on him, just like other champions that we talked about, you will do really well. If you don't, it's better to drop it. Jinx is one of the best characters to actually climb up with. The fact that you can win games while having free inhibitor downs and free losing lanes with this character just makes it one of the best champions to actually make a comeback. On top of that, it's really fun when you're behind, you're just like making the play of the game. You have a lot of kill potential, a lot of damage. It feels really, really easy to get a comeback with this champion, and that's why everyone should play her. Really easy to execute, no problems at all. Crit carry as well, so you have a good scaling. Just play her, really. Senna is not what we want as low elo players. Senna is not really what you want as ADC. And at the same time, there are other ADCs which do literally the same, but they deal more damage and they have also more safety. So because of that, I will simply skip her for now. Saya is not a bad character. She's crit as well, and she's not that bad. I do believe that she struggles a lot against mages and in general poke lanes, especially if you're playing locked camera or if you have problems playing the laning phase. This champion might not be for you. Nilah is a really, really bad character. I don't even want to talk about it. The only way you can play this character in low elo is to play her with a Soraka or an enchanter that you can duo with. If you have a duo to play with, you should do that. But I will do a tier list of duo bot lanes so that you guys can duo with your friend. In this case, Nilah, sadly, solo queue wise, I will never pick her. Kog'Maw is the same as Jinx, with the difference that he doesn't have multiple kill potential, and his laning phase is also weaker. His crit build is not as good as his on-it build. On-it is, generally speaking, way worse in low elo, so my advice is to play the best version of Kog, which is Jinx, even if technically Jinx loses against Kog. Samira, the famous noob stomper. This champion is really, really good if you take the effort to actually focus on her. She's really good because you're gonna punish the enemy mistakes and simply go ahead from there. Of course, the same thing could happen. You try to go ahead and you go behind. But again, if you take the time to actually improve on her, it's one of the easiest champions to actually reach Masters with, and then from Master onwards, I will change champion and play something else. Misfortune has to be one of the most brain damaged characters to actually reach Diamond that I've ever seen in my life. If you pick this champion and you play a first strike lethality build, you're gonna go anywhere in any case. You just go lethality, crit on top of it. Just make sure to not rush Bloodthirster. Kalista for people starting out is surely not what you want, so of course we're gonna place her on the C tier. She's an on-eater on top of that, so she has no scaling at all. You're gonna play perfectly when you play this champion. She's also highly mechanical. I wouldn't advise to play her right now. Yunara has many problems when it comes to player in low elo. She's heavily reliant on her movement speed, and when you start out as an ADC player, you have no idea on how to utilize your movement speed. So because of that, we're gonna place her on the low C tier. Kaylin is honestly another one of those champions that no matter if you lose the lane, no matter if you win it, the champion just like works wonders on it anyways. She has a lot of range and it's really easy to punish low elo players with it. You have a really good scaling build. You can play Exoptics, Infinity Edge, and again, have an insane amount of range while having a lot of value while one-shotting, and you can play a really good scaling build with it. So yeah, I would advise scaling, even if your kiting is not perfect. It's a really good way of starting out and understanding how to make pressure. Usually, I will never put Ashe on the S tier, especially for low elo, but now Ashe is a really good build. Back in the time, Ashe was played Kraken and Phantom Dancer. Now she's played with Exoptics, Infinity Edge. So she has a really good scaling. The champion is not an utility character anymore. She becomes more of an hyper carry, especially with this new variant that the champion has. So you're not relying on your ultimates and relying on your team hitting the enemies to actually make it work. While Smolder got nerfed a lot, I do believe that he is one of the best Nob Stompers ever, simply because you're playing it like an Asus, the games are really long, and no matter what, you will always deliver with this champion. I'm not gonna put it on the S tier after the nerfs, but I still believe that he has a really good place in the low elo side of the game. Just make sure to not play him too much. If you're only playing Smolder, you're gonna have a lot of troubles learning how to kite, because you're mostly playing a mage rather than an ADC. So I advise to play some other champion on pair with it, so that you are not merely focusing on playing Smolder, especially if they're gonna nerf you. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the ADC tier list. If you have any question, make sure to ask it down below. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Bye bye.